Let's get into it. You mentioned it last night, Rob, that you were so excited to see Tom Brady struggle. And you saw it coming, as did others, because New Orleans seems to have his number for whatever reason. He is now 0-4 against the Saints since he's been in Tampa. Now, 0-4 in the regular season, of course, because obviously he beat them in the playoffs last year. But he has struggled. I mean, his numbers versus everyone else since he's been in Tampa are like terrific. His numbers versus the Saints are just horrific since he's been there. So they have his number. And I tell you what, I'm not coming off my pick, but it would, if they meet New Orleans in the playoffs, that will be very interesting. They probably won't. I don't even know if New Orleans will get there.
And don't forget, last year when they lost to the Saints, Drew Brees threw 3 interceptions. He was terrible in that game.
Brady didn't go off. I mean, he wasn't
great
either,
right?
He wasn't great.
But what you call through 3 picks, and it really hurt them. So,
and they lost the fumble too, so they had 4 turnovers.
Yeah, it was bad. There was a lot of gifts.
Had 0.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but last night, Rob, he really struggled mightily. 26 for 48, Tom Brady. 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, a fumble as well. And I saw when he ran that ball, it did not look like it was going to end well, because when he runs, he's got to have tons of space. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not fast, obviously. He's not elusive. He's not getting away from anybody. And when he ran on this one, there was traffic there. So it was like, this is not going to end well. He might get hurt. He might fumble. And, of course, he fumbled. But anyway, New Orleans won 9-0. But my preseason pick for MVP, Tom Brady, there's a lot of chatter now. A lot of chatter out there that he won't win the MVP now after last night's performance. But I'm sticking with my pick.
Well,
unlike some people. Oh, now you're going to give love because you know what's coming. But he is still number 1. Rob G in Vegas, everywhere, right? Is he still number 1? I know he's lost ground. I don't think he's lost the lead, but he certainly lost ground, and Aaron Rodgers is chasing. But right now, Tom Brady still has a slight lead in the MVP race. But, Rob, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think he lost it last night. It's one thing to lose to the Saints, which is fine. First time being shut out since 2006. They lost the game 9-0, and I get it. People were hurt, but that's when you show yourself. You know, Chris, the one thing people always talk about Brady, and they try to hang their hats on, is that Brady does more with less. That's always been like a narrative. Oh, well, who does he have? Other than Randy Moss, he didn't have anybody. Oh, it was like guys working at 7-Eleven. So he always had this thing that he could take anything that was thrown to him and kind of work with it. That didn't happen. And you can't use injuries all the time. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers went to Arizona, who were 7-0 without his top 3 receivers, his tight end, his defensive coordinator, and they won a game. This was just a bad loss. They were double-digit despite the history, Chris, which you gave. In the previous 3 games, they still were 11.5-point favorites going into that game. It wasn't like people said, the Saints got that number. There's no way that they can win. And he lost to a quarterback who's a running back, who's not even a quarterback. Saints didn't even score a touchdown in the game and won comfortably. I mean, that was what looks bad. And, everybody has a clunker. We talk about it all the time. The worst thing you want is a clunker late in the season, later when people are looking and when they start to make decisions about the MVP. And you know this, last year, Aaron Rodgers went to Tampa Bay. Chris, what was that, week 3 or 4 or 5, something like that? Had the 2 picks. They lost that ugly game at Tampa, but it didn't hurt him as he played well going down the stretch. Aaron Rodgers this year had the one bad game in the opener.
Well, he was even worse than Brady yesterday against New Orleans.
Yeah, he was terrible in that game. He had a couple picks, but it was early. And since then, if you look at his numbers, the last 4 games, completing 71% of his passes, 13 touchdowns, 0 picks, quarterback rating of 127.7. Just really playing well. Had 3 touchdowns yesterday, no picks. And Chris, this is why we save these microwave takes so that you can understand, like, your partner is on it. I've been covering this National Football League since 1987. I'm not a newbie. I have history. I know what's going on. I know what I'm watching. I've been to every stadium in the NFL. And I tried to warn you early on. You called me a flip-flopper when Aaron Rodgers had his second game of the year. And guess what? Rob Parker's microwave take is as hot and steamy as it was after week 2.
Time to reheat an old hot take that's gone cold.
Hot on the outside, icicle in the middle.
It's Microwave Take with the Odd Couple.
Mark the spot. Are you
You
ready?
already said Lamar Jackson was your pick, so remember that.
I'm backing off of Lamar Jackson.
Wow.
Even after he beat Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. The numbers and what he's doing time and time again are amazing. You hear me? Did you mark that spot? I jumped off of Lamar, and I told you, Chris Broussard, Aaron Rodgers will be the MVP back-to-back, belly-to-belly. You hear me? Aaron Rodgers, as we go forward, nobody would have believed that he would be able to put together a second straight MVP, especially after the numbers he put up last year, and then the start that he got off to, whether his head was in it. And when you look at Aaron Rodgers, his body of work, his team has the #1 record in the NFL at 11-3. He has signature wins in Arizona against the undefeated team. He came back against the 49ers on the road with only 37 seconds to play. And the losses, yeah, you know what? The one that they lost to Kansas City, of course, he didn't play in that game. And that first game where he put up
Minnesota,
an absolute stinker, nobody even thinks about. And the other one he lost was to the Vikings, where he threw 4 touchdowns and no picks and played extremely well. It was the defense in that game. So Aaron Rodgers, I don't care what Vegas says, because last year they had Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady in the mix as well. And guess what? Neither one of them got a vote a year ago, and those teams were pretty damn good. Aaron Rodgers' body of work is as good as it gets, and you know what that smell is? That's Tom Brady from last night, choking down his MVP. He thought it was in the bag. Guess what? He tripped on his way to the podium. Sorry, Brady. No way, no how.
That was cute. That was
Thank
cute. You even had the music come in. Okay. But first of all,
I'm a radio broadcaster. You know what I mean? When you put up quality content, that's
Rob
usually, it just
Parker.
happens. Exactly.
first of all, I don't even know that you're allowed to gloat. You've been in the league. You've been working. You always say it, 35 years in the business. Are you even allowed to gloat when you're a flip-flopper?
I'm not a flip-flopper.
I mean, your pick was Lamar Jackson.
And
then in week 2, you know what? Going into this game, I thought the Browns would win. But you know what? I'm changing. I think the Raiders. I don't like what I see from Nick Mullins. I'm going with the Raiders. I mean, is that even possible?
Chris, you're the ultimate flip-flopper. Are you kidding?
Is that what you can never even let those words come out of your mouth anymore.
You're the ultimate flip-flopper.
You had about 6 months to decide who you thought was going to be the MVP, and you picked Lamar Jackson. Now, all of a sudden, at 1 week in, you flip-flop, or 2 weeks in. It was actually 2 weeks in. Makes it even worse. 2 weeks in, you flip-flop. And look, I'll let you have it because I felt for you. Because Shekel City is burnt to the ground.
No, Shekel City
I'm
ain't burnt to the
demolishing
ground.
you in the
Are you
pigskin
kidding?
pickoff.
Friday, Shekel City was 2 out of 3.
You
it was
haven't
close
had
to
a
being a hat trick.
postseason. You haven't had a postseason pick right since we started the show. So I felt for you. And
Yeah,
I
you're
was
right.
like,
I
you
don't
know
pick
what?
I don't pick
like,
the
I'm
obvious,
let
the
it go.
favorites. I don't pick
Whatever.
the
I
favorites.
pick to win. I mean, I
No,
don't
you
worry
pick the
about
favorites.
who.
Anybody
I don't
can
try
pick
to
the
pick
favorites.
these sexy, out of the blue picks. I pick who's gonna win, and not usually I'm right. And so I was gonna let it go. You know what? Look, it's all good. I mean, real people, real folks, real hardcore predictors gonna look at Rob with a side eye. You know, they gonna roll their eyes at him and, man, this dude ain't, come on. But I let it go. Until now. If you hadn't tried to gloat, if you hadn't enlisted Alex to get him involved in your shenanigans with the music, I would have let it go. I would have gave you love. I would have gave you props. But you actually had the audacity to come on national radio and try to embarrass me when right now Tom Brady still is the favorite. When there's still 3 games left.
That's in
Let's
Vegas.
see what happens.
That ain't
I
what
will
Vegas
give you.
doesn't vote. Vegas doesn't vote
Look,
for
Vegas,
the MVP,
I put much
Chris.
more trust in Vegas than I do in Shekel City.
Oh,
Let's
really?
just put it that way.
Yeah,
really.
I put more
right, so
trust.
here's
I
what
put
I'm
more
saying.
trust in the writers, and I'm not buying what Vegas is saying.
Well, and look, I'm not saying Brady has it in the bag. Rodgers, I said last week, maybe weeks before, was chasing. He's right on his tail. Brady needs to play well in these next 3 games. And Rodgers does too. 3 games is still a long way to go. So let's see what happens. But right now, I still think Brady's in front because Brady's had the higher highs. Brady's got 4 games with 4 or more touchdowns, and then 2 on top of that with 5 touchdowns.
But
Rodgers has
Rodgers
0 with 5.
has a better QBR and a better quarterback rating
but he
than
has
Brady.
0 with 5 touchdowns and 3 with 4. I mean, he's been steady Eddie, yes. But I like some highs here and there. I like a knockout here and there.
Who has the best record in the NFL? Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers? I'm wondering.
And the narrative, when I vote for MVP in the NBA, Rob, I don't look at narrative. But a lot of writers do. And the narrative of a 44-year-old who's defying father time and leading the league in yards and touchdowns
and interceptions.
No, he's not leading in interceptions. He got more than Rodgers, though. But that's much more of a compelling narrative than, the guy that actually lied to the media, told us he was immunized. He meant vaccinated.
Wow. And Brady's been on a team that's cheated
and the guy that sat out a game because he wasn't vaccinated and cost his team a big loss to the Chiefs. I'm just saying, if I was the voting, I wouldn't bring that into play, but a lot of people do. That's all. You knew it with Harden. We were saying, we don't think the way he left Houston should matter. A lot of writers did. That's all the brother's saying. So you get on your high horse, you gloat. Just be careful, Mr.